Thank you, Mr. Donovan, and I appreciate that input. With that, I did tell our representative that I would ask the board to continue the hearing until the middle of May, whatever, and I don't have my calendar in front of me, but at a meeting in May, and I would ask if there's a motion to. Oh, excuse me, I'm new at this again here, so are there any other speakers that wish to speak on the? Sure, come on forward, and state your name and sign in, please.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, my name is Pete Belay. I'm with the Department of Natural Resources, and I'm the Geographic Names Liaison with the state. Just a quick couple of information tidbits to pass along. If, regardless of what name is considered, ultimately, the federal board would discourage the use of compound names, trying to attach two separate names, make it one. So something to keep in mind in the future. And just to clarify some previous information, the Strands did sell the island to the state at near market value back in 1995. And the Donovans did donate the land of the 4 smaller islands to the state at a later date, about 2001. So there will probably be more to say, but I can wait till the next public hearing if there's more.
Thank you, Pete. Any questions? Any other speakers that wish to speak at the public hearing? Any other speakers? Are there any other speakers? Commissioner Crone.
Mr. Chair, I do have one question of the Boys Fort representative, if I could. And that question. What are your feelings about if the name was left the same as it is right now? Because
if it would just still be called Big Island,
yes,
if it was just left, that would be all right, I guess. See, we're not asking you to change the name.
Yes, that's
what we're doing is you asked us for our input, and if we had an alternative name, and what I did was I went to a number of elders who were born and raised on Pelican Lake, and a number of older people, older elders from Nett Lake, and asked them what we used to call it, or what it was called by our people. And they all gave me the same name, Gitchimenes, and that was why I had suggested that. If you leave the name just the same and call it Big Island, I personally don't see any problem with that.
very good.
It's been known, like Mr. Donovan said, it's always been called by the people from Orr and the surrounding area Big Island. The only thing is that we call it Big Island, but in our own language.
Very good. That clarifies that. I know that you didn't initiate the name, but I was just wondering that once this process got going, if you were pushing it or would be satisfied with the same name, and you've answered that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Commissioner Crone. Any other questions? Commissioner Nelson? Commissioner Rocker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This might be a silly question, but is there anything to prevent the renaming of all 5 islands to accommodate everybody that wants to have their name attached to an island? It's a hypothetical.
Thank you for your hypothetical thought there. And I think that it might be a discussion if this board is willing to take and continue this to May. And I would look for a motion. Thank you, Commissioner Sweeney. Is there support? It has been supported. It has been moved by Commissioner Sweeney and supported by Commissioner O'Neill to move to continue the meeting And the date, and I don't have my calendar in front of me, let's see, and I see the hand of our administrator, Gary?
Mr. Chair, the dates that we have for May are, we have May 6th in Duluth, we have May 13th scheduled for the Campus Guagama,
Okay.
formerly known as the 4-H camp,
Yep.
and May 27th in the Hibbing City Hall. So I would suggest either the 6th or the 27th would be perhaps the more appropriate dates.
Why don't we take the 27th, it'd be closer to Pelican Lake, and, you know, and people that were interested in it would have an opportunity to, an easier opportunity to, so if the motion to Commissioner Sweeney, or, is that okay? At 9:35, right? So the continuation would be to the Hibbing meeting at 9:35, and that's okay with the supporter? Okay with the supporter? I have a motion, support. Any discussion? All of us in favor of said motion signify by the sign aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The next thing we have in front of us...
Mr. Chair, just a point of order in process here when we get to that particular time. If in fact administration would be so kind as to accumulate the notes from this particular meeting and add them to the packet when they come, because one of the things that I was looking for when I was reading this particular packet was the minutes from the
Previous.
December meeting. The good news is that it's in our consent agenda for today. The bad news was it wasn't in the packet, so I couldn't, I found it, but I was looking to try and remember what was being said as each of these public hearings went forth, because I think there's an accumulation of data as opposed to isolated data on each one of them. So if you would be so kind as to make sure that that happens, I'd appreciate it.
I think Gary did hear that message there, that Gary?
Chair Forsman and Commissioner Fink, it sounds like you would like us to work with the clerk of the board to assemble the notes that he has taken during these public hearings. All we've had so far in our packets are the letters that we have received from the various speakers to the hearing. But
That would be true. I would prefer not to, I would prefer you all to figure out how to get it done.
exactly. We'll work on that.
With that, thank you.